Hi, and welcome back to Till Death Do Us Watch Party. Tonight, we're reviewing The Legend of Vox Machina Season 2, Episode 11, Belly of the Beast. And this one kind of picks up right where the last one left off, with Scanlan about to get run through with a sword. Because Kaylee, she don't like Daddy. And he tries to tell her in the moment that, oh yeah, he knows who her mother was and all that. And it seems like he's trying to be genuine, but he remembers the wrong.
It's not my mom. That was great.
That was a very good line. So then he kind of just fesses up and owns up to being like a terrible, terrible hornball of a person. And so Scanlan's just like, all right, just go ahead, kill me. I deserve it. So she was not expecting that apparently. So
I still just one time, like, because they've had that scene over and over where it's like, you know what? There's nothing I can say to talk you out of it. Go ahead and kill me. I just want to see you character. Okay. Just once.
Well, yeah, but she was emotional.
Girls.
What about girls?
Don't hit me.
What about girls?
Don't hit
what
me.
about girls?
Don't just play them.
Yeah. So she runs off, and he eventually he attempts to slip his bonds before she runs off, but he wasn't able to catch her. He does cut himself a little bit on her sword that she left, because her sword is got like a locking mechanism, almost like an immovable rod in it. So that was kind of cool. Maybe the hilt of her blade was an unmovable rod.
I don't know, but like that thing was straight up an immovable rod.
Yeah.
So pretty cool.
So it cuts back to downstairs, and they're still partying, and they're still having fun, and you get a couple of awkward scenes again with Keyleth and trying to figure out what she's going to do with Vax, and then
I'm so dark.
That's right. And then Pike and Scanlan have a quick one-on-one, and he tries to explain what's going on to her, but he uses the worst analogy about sleeping with puppies.
And she's like, please, God, tell me this is an analogy. That was good.
And so, yeah, it's very kind of awkward, and there's not much really going on other than that. It cuts to Vax, who's kind of walked off the brood, and he's getting assaulted by the sights of 1,000,000 undead, it feels like. So if you don't like horror, this is kind of really amping up some of the horror in the show, because, you know, corpses reanimating and everything.
Deliver us.
Yeah. It's very obvious to me that they're like, hey, you've sworn yourself to the god of death. Maybe you should be a harbinger of death. You know, usher the dead to the next realm. Felt fairly heavy-handed with the hints, but apparently Vax is dense.
I mean, what does that entail? Like, do you have to walk the dead to...
I mean, it could be like the Valkyries. I mean, given that he gets... Later in the episode, we'll discuss more, but what he gets at the end of the episode kind of harkens to the Valkyries of Norse mythology, and they were the farriers to the
Valhalla.
They're the ones who flew the troops.
Is it like walking a granny across the road? It's like, okay, Dad.
I don't know.
Grab my arm. Let's go.
It depends on the mythos of that particular god of the death.
Okay. Well,
mean you have the river Styx in some, and in Greek mythology, or is that Roman mythology? They're practically the same, just reskinned.
They're exactly the same.
But yeah, you have them. You know, they go through the waters, you know, and you have to take the ferry ride, and you know, but the waters themselves represent the souls of the damned. You know, so it varies per. I mean, even Christian mythology, you don't really have like a clear indication of whether it's, you know, does your soul just ascend, or does it get ferried by an angel? You know,
they're never really very. They're very non-committal. That it's just you go to hell, and you get stabbed in the balls with a pitchfork.
Yeah. So Vax is kind of meandering around, and getting very spooked, it cuts to morning and everybody's hungover and Percy's trying to explain this elaborate trap that he's come up with and everyone's just like, yeah, we don't want to listen to it. And Vax has wandered off again and he ends up finding a graveyard with what looks to be a dilapidated temple to the Raven. Oh, wait, not the Raven Queen, the Matron of Ravens. I'm sorry.
Well, Wizards owns this video now.
So the Matron of Ravens, and apparently both Vex and Keyleth followed him. But he goes into the temple alone, and he gets accosted by the temple maidens, I guess is the best way. Yeah, it's really hard to say what they're called.
Cultists.
Cultists, pretty much. They don't give off a very friendly vibe. They
Not a
lead
talkative
them,
bunch.
They lead him silently to a large pool of blood, and basically they're like, get in there.
Get in there.
And he does. Mm-hmm. And he basically drowns in blood.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I guess in order to talk to the goddess of death in that realm, you just got to be on the verge of dying, and then she comes. Because that seems to feel like that's the way that they commune. Is like, well, when you're on the cusp of where you would need to go over, she'll either send you back or just claim you.
You're dead. Hey, let's chat for a minute. You're alive. Okay. So I remember in that scene when he went in and he went under, and he clearly opens his eyes
in blood, and you're like,
and I looked at Amber and went, "Is that blood?" And she went, "Yeah." And I went, "He opened his eyes in blood?" And she went, "Apparently." And I went, "Gross." But
he gets an epiphany though and finds out maybe the Matron of Ravens isn't so bad.
Well, she's misunderstood.
Yeah, she's misunderstood. So he heads out covered in blood and jovial, for lack of better terms. He's suddenly like, hey, I have a new lease on life. So, he came to the court and now he feels like he can live his life again.
But, he made the accord, and now he doesn't have a creepy bitch showing up all the time.
Yeah. So then they go back to where the rest of the town has been planning, and they basically are like, okay, we're going to go build this big contraption now. And then it just cuts the contraption being built.
I'm pretty sure the entire time everyone was partying, Percy was just out there building it.
Probably. Percy's a little bit of a nerd.
Well, it's like in the episode before this, he's like, it takes plans and we've got contraptions and gears, and they're just like, we want to drink. And he's like, okay, we'll get up early in the morning. The guy's like, we got to get up before noon. So I'm pretty sure at that point, Percy was like, fuck it. I'll just go out there and make it.
It's very, very possible. But basically, it looks like he's making like just a big...
Yeah, it's like a trench with these punji sticks that... Well, not punjies, those are stickies. But like they just kind of like come over and like make like a bridge over it.
It's like a Venus flytrap.
Yeah. Yeah. But like it was dope.
Yeah. So Umbrasyl lands and has a very good spot check. So he sees the trap. But Vex is a very good archer, and apparently she used a heavy enough arrow to be able to trigger that trap.
Okay. It had to have had a hair trigger. I mean, something.
Yeah.
An arrow. Ping. Ah, damn.
Well, I mean, if you use enough force.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And she's using, what is they called? A vestige?
Yeah, it's Fenris. So the trap goes whoosh on Umbrasyl, and he's like, oh no, I'm gonna die.
How's he go again?
Oh no, I'm gonna die.
Oh no, they got me in the trap.
Except
Okay.
not really, because he's just like, whatever. He flails about a bit, but eventually he just like hulks out of it, because ancient black dragon. Okay, we're not talking like they're going up against some like, some adult black dragon or some, venerable black dragon. We're talking about like ancient black. Anytime you play D&D and you hear the word ancient before the rest of the color and name of the dragon, you just go, I need to leave, sir. Please hand me my check.
Exactly. I could not agree more.
But obviously they have to kill him. So, the Heart of Storms is attacking, Vox Machina is attacking, and they're not really getting anywhere. And then the dragon busts out, He turns invisible because apparently he has spells. Wait, dragons normally have spells. Because if you're new to D&D, dragons are not just big fire breathing or acid breathing or ice breathing or poison breathing beasts. They are intelligent. They are greedy. If they're chromatic in certain editions or realms, they're also very evil. But they also have just innate spells and supernatural abilities. So him casting invisibility, yeah, they might not have known he could do that. Doesn't surprise me anytime a dragon pops out a spell. It's rude of the dragon. Like, hello, sir, you're already like 5 times our size, if it as an understatement. Please don't also make yourself invisible so you can breathe on us, because he had greater invisibility. He didn't have no regular invisibility because he was like breathing, and it wasn't until he got basically knocked out of it every time, which would be like a failed concentration check is what it felt like.
Those scenes were so cool, where they were getting the shit kicked out of him, and then all of a sudden you'd see the maw just open up, and you'd see the poison right before he used the acid.
Yeah.
Like just that scene where like you just see the mouth open up right before like right before the gout of fluid comes out. But like that part was so cool.
Yeah.
Again, bravo, Titmouse, you're awesome.
So yeah, that fight sequence, it's going great, and Vax and Scanlan are both been kind of off to the side through most of this. They haven't really engaged much in this kind of ongoing battle. I think a lot of range stuff is going on, and where Vax has daggers, his daggers, he would probably do even better damage if he could get like a sneak attack or somewhere where he could get a lot of hits without having to worry about getting attacked. So Scanlan comes up with this brilliant idea that they need to get inside the dragon. And Vax is like, no, we're not going in through that acid-filled mouth. He's like, yeah, well, no, I'm not suggesting that. We're going to go in the other way. Because apparently they're going in through the pooper. And they go in through the pooper.
I'm fairly certain that's the first time anyone under the age of 26 has ever made that that thought. Well, what if we go up the dragon's butthole? Like it just does not seem like a thing that a well-adjusted player of D&D would suggest.
If I remember correctly, I think they had a potion of reduced size.
That makes much more sense.
And I think that's why they made Tiny Vax. And then Scanlan, I think, might have cast a large reduce on himself to also, and they both went in. Or, I'm not sure. I know I remember Vax became Tiny Vax because that was a joke. He was like that big.
Okay.
And then I think Scanlan actually did not go in, but he was trying to help get Vax out with Big B's hand. He was trying to get it because there was a wound on the side, and they were trying to open up the wound and stab it right there to try to help give Vax purchase to get out of the belly. Because he was taking a fuck ton of acid damage.
As well he should.
Yeah. But in the anime show that we just watched, they, for lack of better words, use a crimson shocker.
Bam. And when they finally get into the intestine, they show you the sewer shark-like scene of them like going up and down the colon, and then like into, I'm guessing, the stomach.
Yeah.
Gross. Out of bounds. No, it was not expected.
Says the man who laughed and laughed and laughed as soon as he saw it was a crimson shocker, and then saw the dragon's reaction.
But the head going up, the head, and then like the dilation of the eye, that shit was fucking hilarious. I don't mind telling you, that part was great.
He loves his body humor.
Hey man, life's too short.
So once they're in there, again, there's a bunch of fighting going on. They get into the belly though, and they take Kaylee's blade because they still have that, and they jam it down into the ground and lock it to try to lock him in. And everyone's getting in some blows, and Umbrasyl's like, yeah, I'm not going to stay here and deal with that. So he would rather cut a hole through his stomach to basically leave behind that immovable rod, for lack of better words, and fly off than stick around to be sucker punched. Because apparently only our group is allowed to throw a net onto a dragon and wheelmill kick them to death.
If it makes you feel any better, we did fire it out of an arquebus.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it was the 4E mechanic that I think allowed the fighter character to basically keep something pinned next to them once they were knocked prone.
Yeah, and Shane put up with our horse shit for about
2 years.
He put up with our horse shit for about 3 rounds, and then finally did the dragon enough, and then escaped, and then basically made us really regret shooting a fucking net at it.
It worked for a few rounds though. It was fun.
Yeah.
But so Umbrasyl flees, and Grog's like, "No, I'm coming with you." And
how dope was that scene where it went to go fly off for the first time and it poked him on the inside of the belly, and he was just like, "No."
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
I thought they had his ass.
Yeah, but basically, the jostling though of them getting moved knocks Vax and Scanlan about, and Scanlan does get knocked unconscious inside the belly.
Well, it's like
that's kind of where they end it.
Well, it's like it got pissed, so it just basically flew up and ripped the sword through it, which gave them the beginning of the exit. And then I think they were like, was it this episode or next episode where they were like chipping at it?
That's next episode.
Okay,
because Scanlan gets knocked unconscious. And then next episode,
and he peeks out in mid-flight.
Yeah.
Okay. No. All right. Now I remember.
Yeah.
All right.
But I mean,
she's the keeper of stories.
But that's effectively the episode. It's kind of feels like the Belly of the Beast combined with the Hope Devourer is kind of like a 2-parter. But we're going to give you just half of it. Sorry, noble viewers. Sorry.
All 3 of you can come back tomorrow. We'll have it up.
Yeah, but we're not going to tell you about it now. So, Lance, character that stood out for you?
The dragon.
The dragon? You liked Umbrasyl in this one?
I just love the way that they animate him in the show. I love how cocky. When you think dragon, you think of him like he can easily be put up there because like he is so very full of his abilities. And he looks at everybody that's around him like they're insects.
Yeah.
Even the way he talks to he was talking out loud to
Thordak.
Not Thordak, but
Anna?
No, the head dragon guy.
Thordak.
Is Thordak them?
It's Thordak is the head dragon.
So he's talking to Thordak out loud in front of his followers, like, well, their contributions are getting meager, so I think I'm just going to dispatch of them. And it's like, I just wanted one of the dudes down there to be like, I can hear you, but like, he's just, they play the character well, where they're very smart, they're brilliant, in fact, very cocky, the way that they do their powers, like whenever he flies by and does the acid rain, that shit is fucking cool.
No, it is. I would wholeheartedly agree that Umbrasyl is pretty much kind of a scene stealer in this episode.
But yeah, I thought my favorite scene of the whole thing is when they set that sword.
Yeah.
Because I thought they had his ass, and then he was just like, he pulled a Grog. Have to get this thing out of me one way or another.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I become a loot pinata, and I just sit here, and they basically beat me to death.
Right? Yep.
But yeah, that shit was awesome. It really
yeah,
was.
And that kind of was beat for beat, kind of like how it went down. They used an actual movable rod in the campaign. But that was the idea, was they go in there, that the axe is going to go in there and try to keep him from being able to fly away by dropping the movable rod. Because that was their concern, is because they knew they were going to try and fight him at Westruun, and that his lair was in that mountain. They knew that. And they were trying to keep him from fleeing to go back to it. So they're like, they had that as a contingency plan of like, if he's going to leave, we need to make it so he can't fly off. Because they knew if he flew off, he was just going to report it. And then they were going to have like bigger problems, because he's going to tell the other dragons, hey, they're trying to kill me. They're trying to kill me.
How much worse is that? A sword has a point, so you can at least push it through you, because it's got to go through flesh and your armor.
Yeah.
Now you have an immovable rod that's blunt. and you have to push a blunt object through your flesh and scales.
Yeah.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, they weren't very nice.
They could have did like Operation.
Probably, you know, knowing, it was probably Keyleth's idea, because she normally comes up with like these ideas that sound like, oh yeah, that'd be really nice, and then turn out to be the most horrific way to like injure and or kill somebody.
It's always the cute, quiet ones.
It's a gift of Marisha's. She's done this multiple times with multiple characters, where she's just like, I'm just gonna do this. I think because like, I don't know, this is a throwback to a previous episode, but there was an episode where they were sharing stories, and there's like a Durgar getting like burned alive in lava. Mm-hmm. That's because like Keyleth was just like, I'll just knock him into there to try to keep him from doing that. She didn't realize that lava was going to have that much damage.
All right. Shh. It's almost over.
No, she has a different moment with that in campaign too, but I won't tell you about that one in case they keep it in as a
when they pass the point, tell me, because now I'm going to be really
well. This is in campaign 2, so it's with the Mighty Nine.
Tell our loyal viewers, and I'll make noises. La la la.
No, I'm not going to tell anybody.
Damn, because I was gonna take this finger out. I was just gonna listen.
I'll tell you off screen if you really want to know.
I kind of do, but at the same time, I kind of don't.
But yeah. So Lance, I'd ask you where you think this is going, but I think you already know where this is going.
Yeah, we power through. So I'd like to tell you that we watch an episode and then record.
No.
We watch all 3 because we're nerds and we want to see where the story's going. I could usually do it on the 3rd episode of the week, but
well, when we get to the last episode, don't worry, I'll ask you where you think the next season's going.
And I'll tell you I don't know. But
I know where.
I have an idea. But yeah, it's
I bet you mine's better. I cheated. I watched the campaign.
Okay, well then I'll go overboard with my prediction and make it really sound interesting. So before we ended the episode, I wanted to say the whole thing with the Matron of Ravens, the vision, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I could not envision, like you have God calls or your character dies and then you role play the scene out where your God's just basically like, we're not done with you kind of a thing. Her giant visage and the skulls off the necklace, like the way she looked when he was talking to her, that whole thing was gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I don't know who basically described that to the animators of this is how it needs to look, but they fucking slayed it. It looked so good.
The thing about that scene that I took away from it was I could not help but think of our friend Nick's character Eliza in that scene. For she was the fervent servant of another matron of ravens.
Quick to cut a throat.
And quick to like, you are an affront to the god, my goddess of death. I shall have to kill you for trying to not die a natural cause.
To even the point of when we were about to die, he was like, "It's the order of things," and we're like, "No, we're your party. You have to keep us up."
Well, no, Eliza's catchphrase, at least to Joe's character, was, "The Raven Queen's not done with you yet," and she would slap him to give him her laying on hands.
Okay, no. Right.
But I had to like hide my little lich buddy in my mage tower to keep her from. It's like my lich buddy was not an evil lich.
Yeah, he was going down if she would have found him. But yeah, that was pretty good.
She promised Ellie that she'd come for him last. Ellie would fight for her little lich friend, even though she loves Eliza.
All right, it's a happy fun time. Amber.
Yes.
And viewers, Courtney Taylor played the Matron of Ravens.
Okay.
Do you have any idea another famous role that Courtney Taylor was in?
The name sounds very familiar. If I saw her face, maybe.
All right, I'm going to give you a hint. Your favorite game, my favorite character.
Oh, it's Jack from Mass Effect.
Yeah, she's the voice of Jack in Mass Effect.
I knew the name, and I'm like, and I was like, I couldn't place it. And then you said your favorite game. I was like, you didn't even have to say the last part. You said your favorite game. And I was like, oh, Courtney Taylor is Jack. Duh.
Well, I just,
Duh.
I wanted to make sure that I gave you as much information.
I only needed you to basically say, she's a voice in Mass Effect. I was like, oh, Courtney Taylor's Jack. I'm an idiot. And I forgot for that 30 seconds of my life.
So Kelly Hu is Ripley.
Yes.
And she is Karai in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the new
watch
stuff. She's okay. Well, then how about she's also in the Orville. And in the Orville, she plays Admiral Ozawa. I think she's one of the big heads on the screen.
Yeah, no, then I won't ever remember who she is.
Yeah. I think she's also in some of the DC stuff because I'm seeing like some Catwoman, Batman stuff up the top. Anyways. Oh, wait. She's Jade in Young Justice. Okay. Another good show that I'm going to talk her into watching. Put down in the comments that you want her to watch it so I can get her to watch it. Of course, you have Lance Reddick as Thordak.
Yes.
Sovereign Uriel was...
that's Kamari.
Peyton? Mm-hmm. Okay. Kahari Peyton?
Kari Payton.
Kari Payton?
He's going to play Shikasta when they meet Shikasta in this second campaign.
Sexy man. Zanror was...
We've already done Zanror.
Okay. Anyways, Amber, what score do you think this got on IMDb?
This one, I'd say 8-9.
8-9? Mm-hmm. Final answer?
Yep.
9-1.
Okay.
But by the time this episode actually hits the air, it'll probably be 8-9. So, and I'll look like the dick. But yeah, it's not my favorite, but it's still pretty damn good. And I do like it when they get creative, and they definitely got fucking creative in this episode. So, is there anything else that stands out to you? Any other things you think we need to touch on?
Nope. I think we just need to get this one wrapped up so everyone can go watch that last episode.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for watching.
Yeah.
And
don't split the party.
And
know who your daddy is.
And now you're adding shit.
Yeah, well, because I was expecting you to add something, so I had to be prepared.
Who's your daddy?
Not you.
Bye.
Bye.